6-0, your bill is out.
I think this is the first time Assemblymember Harper voted on one of my measures. Thank you, Assemblymember.
Harper strong.
Good day.
Mr. Linder, you are up next. While we do that, can we get a motion and a second on the Atkins bill, that is file item 2702, the Great GHG study? I'll second. Please call the roll. This is 2702 by Atkins.
23.
Dude, you're cruising, man.
The motion is due pass, and we refer to appropriations. Williams?
Aye.
Williams, aye. Jones?
Aye.
Jones, aye. Garcia? Garcia, aye. Gomez? Hadley?
Not voting.
Hadley not voting. Harper?
Not voting.
Harper not voting. McCarty?
Aye.
McCarty, aye. Stone? Wood?
Jones is no. I'm sorry.
Jones is no.
Yes.
Can I change my vote to a no?
Yes. That
Sorry.
was Harper, right?
Make up your minds.
Huh?
No. So it is changed to
3-2. I got ahead of myself. I was thinking Linder. And
That is, the Atkins bill 2702 is 3-2. We'll leave that open for absent members. Mr. Linder.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. I'd like to start off by accepting the committee's amendments. Thank you to the chair and staff for the hard work on this bill. The amendments will strengthen the bill and ensure that the CEQA process is not weakened or circumvented. California's infrastructure is reaching a critical mass. Last year, Governor Brown identified $66 billion in deferred maintenance. 2011, the CTC identified a $200 billion shortfall in funding for projects. These numbers are, as the governor said, staggering. On top of all this, Proposition 1B funds have been exhausted, leaving a massive funding gap. Understandably, the legislature has been debating funding proposals to try and address these deficiencies, with little progress to show. While these talks continue, the legislature must press forward on their solutions. In recent years, California has embraced new procurement methods such as design build and CMGC, reducing costs and delivery times of projects. AB 1833 simply uses the same language that the governor has proposed to streamline and address environmental costs without weakening environmental protections by authorizing Caltrans to use advanced mitigation for transportation projects. Other states and localities have begun implementing advanced mitigation for its potential benefits of reducing project delays and costs and improving mitigation quality to align with statewide and regional conservation priorities. States like Michigan have estimated cost savings of $70,000 per acre, and Washington has estimated between 30 to 80% in cost savings over traditional wetland mitigation. California needs to start embracing these techniques that have been found to be successful in other regions around the nations. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to your aye vote.
Move the bill. Second.
You have a witness in support?
Mr. Chair and members, Eric Thronson with the California Transportation Commission. As part of our statutory charge, the California Transportation Commission advises the administration and the legislature in formulating and evaluating state policies and plans for California's transportation programs. The Commission supports AB 1833 because it is consistent with the Commission's adopted consensus principles for reforms and funding solutions, as well as the priority statutory recommendations provided to the legislature in the Commission's 2015 annual report. Modernization and streamlining of permitting and environmental clearance requirements for transportation projects should be considered as part of a balanced reform package to shorten the implementation timetable for projects, enable more predictable timing for construction, and to reduce litigation costs. Both state and regional entities have utilized advanced mitigation as a way to provide high-quality replacement habitat, achieve economies of scale in its development, and reduce project delivery delays. AB 1833 creates a framework for development of a robust state-level advanced mitigation program, and therefore the Commission supports this measure. I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, John Moffitt on behalf of the American Council of Engineering Companies in support for many of the reasons stated. We appreciate the proposal, thinks it strikes a nice balance between environmental protection and increasing the efficiency and streamlining these projects. We encourage your support.
Thank you. Other witnesses in support? Witnesses in opposition?
Kyle Jones with Sierra Club, California. With the amendments, we're going to reevaluate our position on the bill and remove opposition at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. To the dais, questions, comments from the committee? Thank you for taking the amendments. Advanced mitigation is not without its problems, but it's all about the greatest good. If we want to preserve open space and endangered species, advanced mitigation is a efficient form to do so and should not be dismissed. Chair's recommendation is aye with amendments. Would you like to close?
Thank you. Thank you to the committee for working so hard on this. Respectfully request you take a grand opportunity to vote aye on a great bill.
The motion is due pass as amended and re-refer to appropriations. Williams?
Aye.
Williams, aye. Jones?
Aye.
Jones, aye. Garcia? Garcia, aye. Gomez? Hadley?
Aye.
Hadley, aye. Harper?
Aye.
Harper, aye. McCarty? McCarty, aye. Stone? Wood?
6-0, your bill's out.
Thank you.
Ms. Eggman.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and committee members. And I also first would like to say I will be accepting the suggested amendments and thank you and the staff for working so hard on them. Today I'm presenting AB 2408. To be clear, this bill will not create a new cap and trade program, but rather will build off the existing GGRF funding that is already in place. And hopefully this bill is a great example of how to work smarter with the existing monies that we have by maximizing the delivery of greenhouse gas reduction projects to households throughout California. Specifically, this bill serves to eliminate common barriers that delay households from receiving these funds by developing an easier application process and prioritizing projects that have multiple climate benefits. Many households throughout the state suffer from older, inefficient homes and vehicles that require a lot more money to maintain and operate, and also create a lot more problems in our environment. This bill will ensure priority to projects that are providing a multiple climate benefits to low-income households, such as advanced clean vehicles, rooftop solar, weatherization, urban greening projects. These projects will create a real impact on Californians and also help to get out the word to their neighborhood when they see a lot of projects going on, like, what is that? Where did that money come from? So this kind of helps create a one-stop shop and also prioritizes if there's a job component involved in this as well. And also hopes to leverage money that people are already receiving. We think this is a really smart way to go about transforming California for everybody who lives here. Respectfully ask for your aye vote, and we have witnesses in support.
Good afternoon, chairs and members. My name is Jose Marin from Stockton, California. I am the outreach coordinator for Valley Cleaner Now, a 501c3 nonprofit organization committed to improving the air quality in California's San Joaquin Valley. In conjunction with the San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution Control District, Valley County operates the Tune In Tune Up program, which helps low-income individuals in the valley repair vehicles that do not meet smog standards in the state of California. And we are having the ability to replace those vehicles with more efficient gas cars, hybrids, or advanced technology vehicles. Since June of 2015, Valley County has helped low-income families replace 292 high-emitting vehicles with cleaner cars. 87 of those vehicles were plug-in hybrids or battery electric vehicles. All 292 vehicles went to families living within the SB 535 zip code, 75% of whom are primarily Spanish-speaking. My job as outreach coordinator is to gain the trust of these communities and encourage those in need to participate in government programs that may at first seem too good to be true. First of all, when meeting these communities, there is a lack of trust and after meeting their directors, their pastors, their community center directors, they have no doubt that Valley Can is providing a good opportunity for them and for the JGRF results that we're trying to achieve. Valley Can is supporting this bill because of its wise approach to saving government money on overhead costs, including outreach and reporting back to the state so that more money can go to delivering real service to those in need. Outreach in low-income communities is costly and takes time. Once we develop these relationships with families, it makes sense to utilize these relationships as a single pipeline for multiple state, local, and even federal programs. For example, Valley Can is already partnering with Fresno EOC to pre-qualify our customers for state and federal home weatherization and rooftop solar programs. By encouraging GGRF providers to work together both in the Valley and elsewhere, we ensure that state funds are spent efficiently and that more money goes towards helping those in truly need. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members. My name is Danielle Lynch, and I'm happy to be here on behalf of the California Association of Local Conservation Corps, who represent the 13 state-certified corps across the state. The corps have decades of experience using innovative techniques to deliver various climate services throughout the state to conserve our natural resources, reduce energy use, and reduce GHGs. They participate in projects including tree planting, solar installation, home weatherization, and a plethora of other services. While we're really excited to support this bill for its efforts to break down barriers that we see every day in delivering services to these households, we're especially excited to see Assemblymember Eggman's focus on getting to those communities who really stand to benefit the most from these types of projects. Specifically, program coordination will allow increased service access and project delivery in disadvantaged and low-income communities. And we're also excited to see the workforce development component of this. I think when we're talking about these programs and climate services, we really need to try and emphasize that some of the co-benefits, including workforce development and job training, especially for those disadvantaged community members that could really benefit from those types of projects, including the local conservation corps that typically come from disadvantaged communities and have pretty hard backgrounds and could really benefit from these types of services. So we're excited to support Assemblymember Eggman and this policy and respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Other witnesses support?
Mr. Chair and members, Mike Dillon representing the San Joaquin County Regional Conservation Corps in support.
Good afternoon, Chair and members. Katrina Robinson here on behalf of Fresno Economic Opportunity Commission here in support. We help operate some of the energy efficiency, water use efficiency, and rooftop solar programs integrated as well.
Claire Scott on support of the California Van Pool Authority in support.
Baldeo Singh, Sacramento Regional Conservation Co. in support.
Kavion Pickett, course member at Sacramento Regional Conservation Corps, support.
Any witnesses in opposition? Any witnesses with testimony neither in support nor opposition? To the committee. Mr. Jones.
Dr. Eggman, I like the concept of what you're trying to do here. There's two concerns regarding the language of the bill. One is the integrated greenhouse gas reduction project seems to be a little unrefined. And then in section D2, regional and neighborhood programs they're not very well defined. We're just wondering if are you going to work on that language or
we'll continue to work on that. And thank you for pointing that out.
Okay, I think for today I'm going to lay off. We'll see it again in approps. I think, is that right? So we'll get a chance to see it then. All right, thanks.
Motion by Garcia, second by McCarty. Chair's recommendation is aye. Would you like to close?
I would just like to say thank you to Mr. Jones for pointing out some small technical difficulties, but I think overall we're really trying to make the money work smarter. When I look at Valley Cam, somebody from my district had one of the cars that came out, and we had a car crushing on the front lawn, and they were turning in an old car. And as I was speaking to the mother, it was a family of 5, he was a gardener, and the day before they had been shot in a drive-by shooting. And the mother was there with a bullet in her arm as she was there to get their new car. And I just think those of us who serve districts at a lot of risk, when we see opportunities to be able to, if they could have that, be able to get that credit for that car and maybe get their house winterized as well and maybe able to get some solar, that's just a way I think if we have, you've heard the difficulty it takes to do outreach in these neighborhoods, that the more services that we can provide with this, this fund, I think just the better off we all are. And I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Chair's recommendation is aye. Please call the roll.
The motion is due pass as amended and re-refer to appropriations. Williams?
Aye.
Williams, aye. Jones?
Not voting.
Jones not voting. Garcia? Aye. Garcia, aye. Gomez? Hadley? Harper? No. Harper, no. McCarty? Aye. McCarty, aye. Stone? Wood?
3-1 will leave the roll open for absent members.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Dolly and Mr. Gordon.
He's been mentoring me for a long time, and I'm trying to learn. It takes time. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Today I am here to present AB 2029, along with my joint author, Assemblymember Gordon. I'd just like to say out of the gate that I would like to thank the governor for implementing the tree mortality declaration, and we've had 1 million trees die in the last year, and we know that there's about another 2 to 3 million that are going to die in the future. So this bill is a bill that Mr. Gordon and I are moving forward. We did a pilot project a couple of years ago, and we are just extending that with a few provisions to hopefully make it more usable for private landowners to harvest timber and fire safe their communities. I have a photo here of one of our original bills. This would be pre-treatment, and this is after treatment. And the goal is to be able to let fire go through the forest without devastating every tree in its path. And then I also have another photo here, which is a photo from, this is 2015. You can see it's green. And then in 2016, you see all the dead and dying trees that need to be removed. Now, this bill will not take all those trees out. This is a small piece in a huge problem. But this is a step, and it's putting a tool in the toolbox that private landowners could use. So I wanted to mention that I appreciate the time that we've worked with the chairman and the staff to make this bill a good bill, and I'll turn it over to Mr. Gordon now.
You know, in 2013, Assemblyman Dolly and I agreed to a bipartisan effort to see how we might improve forest health and mitigate forest fire risk. The pilot has been initiated. There's indications that it's working. I think this is kind of a unique approach. What we're asking today is to allow us to tweak that pilot so that it can work a little bit better. As my colleague said, I do appreciate the work of the chair and the staff in helping us to look at this issue. I would submit that in some ways this is an approach we need to see more often. What we're doing here is taking something that has been initiated that's going to do an awful lot for forest health and for fire reduction in our state. We're tweaking it to make it work a little bit better. So I would join my colleague in asking for an aye vote.
We also have with us here today Kristen Kolpicki from Cal Forest, John Anderson from Humboldt Mendocino Redwood Companies, and Scott Wetch with the forest industry laborers. Go ahead.
Kirsten Kolbicki with the California Forestry Association in strong support of the bill. AB 2029 is a narrowly tailored exemption from having to do costly and redundant paperwork, but everything else in current law stays the same. A company must still submit paperwork about their proposed project, although much shorter. The forest practice rules still need to be followed. This is a book of over 360 pages in 8-point font that has to be followed. And after the project is done, CAL FIRE has to review to ensure that no harm has been done to the environment and that the rules have been followed by the landowner and the timber operator. PFT's own letter states that exemptions do require compliance with the core forest practice rules and often add additional constraints. These additional constraints and limitations help reduce the risk of environmental damage, presumably to a point where benefits outweigh the risk. Thank you.
My name is John Anderson. I've been a California registered professional forester for 21 years and am now the Director of Forest Policy with Mendocino and Humboldt Redwood Companies. Our property is third-party certified as operating sustainably by the Forest Stewardship Council. Yeah, that's a worldwide organization that makes sure that properties are managed sustainably, responsibly, socially responsibly. And part of that certification tells us that we need to protect our forests from wildland fire to the extent possible. So we conducted one of these exemptions, started it last year. We're in the process of finishing it right now. It's about 270 acres in size. And we had some difficulty in putting this together, so I just wanted to share that with you. Many of our forests are very dense and overgrown because of decades of fire suppression, so you'd think we'd have many acres to be able to apply this to. However, when our trees get to about 35 to 45 years of age, they're over 24 inches, and that's the upper threshold under this exemption. So we've had vast areas of our forests we've had to walk away from and just leave as dense forests. The current exemption allows us to go in there and thin just these understory trees. This is not going after large diameter trees. That's not our focus, even though this exemption calls for a little bit of a bump in that. There is language in the exemption that says we have to increase the average diameter of the trees when we're done. So that means we can't be out there harvesting big trees. They have to be the small to medium-sized trees. The other issue we ran into was road construction. We cannot do any road construction under this exemption. So if there are no roads in the forest and they're overcrowded, again, we're walking through vast areas of the forest. So I know the opposition will talk about the fact that sediment may be entering a stream as a result of this road construction, but I can tell you we have 4 different agencies that look over our shoulder every day when we're out there in the woods to make sure that we do not get any sediment into the creek. And it's not something we want to do. We have certainly spent millions, just our company, on salmon restoration, and that's the last thing we would want to do. When we did find an area to do this in, it looked just like the picture Mr. Dolly brought up there. I think it was very effective, but we'd like to do this on many more acres, but we just spent weeks and weeks looking for the appropriate spot to use this.
Thank you, John.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman and members, Scott Wetch on behalf of the Labor Management Committee of the Forest Products Industry, which over 10 different labor unions represented in the wood products industry, primarily carpenters and machinists. This is the type of legislation that we don't see enough in this building. It's forward-thinking, it's innovative, it's not designed to chase after the problem, but to get in front of the problem. We have 29 million dead or dying trees in the state and another 55 million at-risk trees in this state. It's a state of emergency as declared by the governor, and it takes extraordinary and innovative thinking to solve this problem. This is a triple for this legislature. It allows us to go in and reduce the fuel that is going to lead to catastrophic fires in the state. It allows us to go and get ahead of this drought problem and the tree mortality problem by going into forests that are not yet unhealthy and ensuring that they'll remain healthy going forward. And then for an industry that has seen massive layoffs over the last decade, it's going to provide an economic boost to the North Coast and Northern California and rural California that my members desperately need. I just think it's so important to underscore the fact that this is not a free lunch. All the forest practice rules have to be applied. You have 4 different agencies. You have Fish and Wildlife, you have CDF, you have the Regional Water Quality Control Boards all overseeing this. Nobody gets a free pass, but you've got to give landowners some leeway to go in and take on this Herculean task. And you've got to give them some economic incentive so that they can at least break even in doing that. This is exactly the type of solution that we need for this problem, and I would urge an aye vote from all of you. Thank you.
Further witnesses in support?
Mr. Chair, members, Brian White here on behalf of the California Licensed Foresters Association, the state's registered professional foresters who operate both public and licensed public and private lands. We are in support of the bill, as well as the Forest Landowners of California, small family landowners who also manage private property in California. So we support the bill. Thank you.
Noel Kramers with the California Farm Bureau Federation in support.
Gary Reinierson, registered professional forester. We're here representing Green Diamond Resources Company, and we fully support this bill. Thank you.
Arnie Hultgren, Roseburg Forest Products, with a strong support of this bill.
Matt Klopfenstein with the Sacramento Municipal Utility District in support. Thank you.
Mike Dillon, California Ski Industry in support.
Stacy Heaton with the Rural County Representatives of California in support.
Valerie Nair for the California Chamber of Commerce in support.
Shane Levine on behalf of the American Insurance Association in support. Thank you.
Witnesses in opposition? If you could just give them some room.
Yeah, give them the chair.
Paul Mason with Pacific Forest Trust. I'm actually in the tweener category. You've seen our support if amended letter. I guess I probably could have sat down. And I just want to highlight a couple of things. I fundamentally support the goals of this bill. Clearly, there's a ton of thinning that needs to happen. I actually worked very closely with Assemblyman LaMalfa in 2004 to create the predecessor of this bill, the original exemption. My concern is fundamentally around the proliferation of exemptions as a way to deal with our forest practice issues. Some of you may remember, most of you are too new to the legislature, but the chair certainly remembers in 2012, we actually passed a new tax on lumber in California in order to fully fund our timber review agencies. Since then, we've seen a continuation of exemptions. This one, Assemblyman Wood has a Oaks Woodlands exemption. There's a very broad new exemption for dealing with the salvage issues caused by the beetle mortality, all of which cumulatively have become a very significant way of doing forestry in California. And of course, as I highlighted in my letter, the problem with exemptions is they're ministerial. They don't let our agencies, who are now staffed back up, we've hired 75 people in the last 5 years to deal with these issues at DFW, at CDF. So I'm just suggesting that as another bill, after this bill moves forward, perhaps next year, we really need a process for dealing with timber issues that relies on the expertise of our agencies rather than just expediting the process by omitting their input. Thank you.
Thank you. Witnesses in opposition?
Yes. Good afternoon. I'm Brian Nowicki with the Center for Biological Diversity. The Center is a nonprofit environmental organization. The Center, I understand that the committee has been looking at potential amendments to mitigate some of the impacts of this bill, and I very much would like to see those move forward. Without addressing the problems in this bill, the Center must remain strongly opposed to this bill. The bill would make approval of many commercial logging projects, ministerial, and preclude review beforehand by Department of Forestry, Department of Fish and Wildlife, and the Regional Water Resources Control Boards. Agency review, including pre-harvest site inspections, is when the Department of Forestry can point out potential violations of the forest practice rules. Fish and Wildlife can point out the wildlife tree or the owl nest that was previously overlooked, which happens regularly in those reviews, on-site reviews. And the Water Resources Control Board can identify potential impacts to waterways before they occur. All of these are routine under THP review, and all of these are too late to remedy after the logging is complete. By expanding the size, we are now talking about trees up to 22 inches diameter breast height, or depending on the site class and the tree species. This falls squarely within the category of commercial logging. In many stands, though, it also includes the largest size class of those trees that are present, representing critical structural diversity and the primary trees available for wildlife use and nest trees, particularly in those forests that have been previously degraded by logging. Perhaps most relevant to the stated purpose of this bill, the removal of the larger trees means this bill would encourage the removal of those trees that are in fact most resistant to fire, and in some cases the most resistant to drought. There is no cheap and easy way to restore California's forests after decades of logging, fire suppression, and mismanagement, and facing new impacts from climate change and drought. It's going to take investment, planning on multiple scales, and the consideration and input of expert agencies. Deregulation and the removal of public agency review does not get us better forest management on the cheap, and it comes at a steep price for the very values, forest health, fire management, watershed integrity, that the bill purports to address. Thank you.
Other witnesses in opposition?
Eddie Moreto on behalf of Sierra Club California in strong opposition.
To the committee. Questions, comments from the committee? Mr. Wood.
I just want to thank you, too, for bringing the bill forward. We've talked about this issue. It's a challenge for us on the North Coast. We know that the fuel loads are a problem. Appreciate the efforts, and I assume you've taken the amendments. I apologize, I came in late. So I appreciate you moving forward.
That was a nod. Yes.
That was a nod. that was a nod. So, and at an appropriate time, I will be supporting your bill. I'd like to be added as a co-author.
Amen. Ms. Garcia.
Thank you to the committee and the authors for working on this. Mr. Deli, I know you're really passionate about this, and I've had the luxury of visiting you in your district. So supportive of I think, the incremental approach you're doing today. I just had a question about the reporting requirement, just to make sure we are tracking data so that we are aware at the end of the pilot if this has been successful or not, beyond just anecdotal information.
Yes, so we are reporting on the gathering the data, so we can then report back, and we will be in this bill gathering that data in the fourth year and then presenting it to the legislature.
Has there been a motion? I move the bill.
Mr. Jones. The motion and second by Garcia and Wood. Mr. Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Dowling, Mr. Gordon. This is a great bill. I'm hypersensitive to this issue, being as my district was the victim of some horrendous fires in both 2003 and 2007, where between the two fires, I think the home count was over 3,000 residential structures between those two fires were burned. And while not all of it, was exacerbated by overgrown forest, some of it was. And, I've had a tour up in that area. Last summer, I was driving through Kings Canyon, and I'm no forestry expert by any means, but I could see all the dead trees that were in that forest. And it's an amazing thing to me, and I'm biting my tongue quite a bit at the opposition when they come up here and talk about mismanagement. And a lot of that mismanagement is caused by regulations both from the state and from the federal departments of forestry. That these folks that are working in this industry are doing the very best job they can to maintain these forests and make sure that they're productive and reproduce and in a green manner. So I just want to commend you on the work that you're doing, and I know it's not always been easy. As a matter of fact, it's probably never been easy, but thanks for keeping forward with this, and I support it and think you're doing good work.
And I feel, well, I'll just point out a couple things. Number one, it's important to indicate that, Mr. Harper.
Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt the chair's comments, but I wanted to compliment your bipartisan efforts, being inclusive of the interests of many stakeholders, as well as having practical applications to be able to reduce our fire danger here in California. So thank you for your bill.
I did want to indicate, to be fair to the opposition, that there already is an exemption process for dead or dying trees that is being used throughout the state, but it is important to indicate that this exemption, the old exemption, has only been used 16 times according to our data. So it does speak to the fact that it is not necessarily a viable exemption under current law. And I fundamentally believe as an environmentalist that it is better for the environment for the forestry to happen in California, where it is well regulated and where we have ecological requirements, than it to be happening in other states and countries where we do not have the same level of oversight and requirements of restoration or leaving of stands, etc. Fire, though, is a legitimate danger when forests are managed with even aged trees throughout the stand. That tends to be trees of the same height. That therefore means more trees that can catch fire at the same depth. And it also is because of a great high of a much higher tree density than occurred in the state previous to European civilization. And so I definitely believe in what is termed uneven management, that we want big trees and little trees. We don't want all the same size trees. It's better for the ecology. It's better for preventing fire danger. And that is why I support the bill. I will indicate that I hope that the authors and that the sponsors will someday go farther. Uneven management, I would actually call it more holistic forestry. The right kind of forestry practices should be practiced both within timber harvest plans and in the exemptions to timber harvest plans. And that would be the kind of solution that I hope that environmentalists and forestry advocates would support into the future. The amendments are to reduce the increase in diameter of trees that can be harvested to 26 inches and prohibit roads on slopes over 40%. And the chair's recommendation is aye with those amendments. Please, would you like to close?
I would. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Gordon has given me the green light to be able to close. So I wanted to just say, first of all, Mr. Chairman, I spent many day on this committee with you, and I respect your opinion. I appreciate the fact that you understand these issues to a very high level. And I want to just say to my opposition, though, that it's hard for me to not just lose my mind at some times about, we're talking about, let's talk about the owls, and let's talk about the watersheds, and I can take you out on the ground and show you 400,000 acres burned up, and there's not an owl living in it, and the water quality is horrible. This is an attempt to try to get ahead of that curve just a little bit, and that's all we're asking is just a little bit here, and then come back to the legislature with hopefully some good science and show, and maybe, just maybe, in the 4 years that we have, a fire will go through one of these stands that we've thinned. I can show you places where we've thinned and fires went through there, and there's still an owl pack, there's still a healthy watershed, and there's still a live tree. So, again, I appreciate your hard work. This is not easy. I understand that. I appreciate so much my joint author, and hopefully someday there is a time when we can go look at an uneven age managed forest and see some great big trees, and still see a company there working on that land and providing the things that we need off that land, and healthy watersheds, habitat, and sequestering carbon at the rate we should be sequestering carbon. So again, thank you. I would ask for an aye vote on this bill.
Chair's recommendation is aye. Please call the roll.
The motion is due pass as amended and re-refer to Appropriations Committee. Williams?
Aye.
Williams, aye. Jones?
Aye.
Jones, aye. Garcia? Garcia, aye. Gomez? Hadley?
Aye.
Hadley, aye. Harper?
Aye.
Harper, aye. McCarty? Stone? Wood? Wood, aye.
And on behalf of the committee, though we enjoy having Mr. Jones here, we miss you.
Thank you very much.
I miss him too. There we go. Mr. Mr. Nazarian.
I think I'm in.